Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Joining me now is Michael B. Moore, the Democrat looking to unseat Congresswoman Nancy Mace. Michael, thank you so much for joining me once again.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
The Supreme Court ruled that South Carolina can use the House map that critics have argued is racially discriminatory. This affects your district, so what do you make of the news?
Well, from a campaign standpoint, we decided to jump into the race based on how the lines are drawn now, just presuming that neither the Supreme Court nor our very Republican General Assembly were going to do us any political favors. It's really disappointing. 30,000 people lost their political voice effectively, and when we think about sort of notions of democracy and one person, one vote, those concepts are being tested, if not thrown out the window, when we think about the kind of gerrymandering that's going on around the country these days. So, it's disappointing. And then I'll just add, from a personal standpoint, my great-great-grandfather, Robert Smalls, I'm actually running for his seat in Congress. He was gerrymandered out of a district for the same purposes, to concentrate the black vote, progressive vote into one congressional district back 140 some years ago. So, things have a way of, going full circle, and here we are.
This doesn't, as you said, impact the 2024 race because they were going to use this map anyway. But what do you think the future implications here are?
Well, the future implications are that it's more difficult for a Democrat to prevail in this district. Now, we still are very much of a purple district. On the Republican side, Nikki Haley actually beat Donald Trump in the first congressional district. And we're seeing evidence that more and more demographic changes, people are coming into the district from the Northeast. We've got a heavy kind of retirement base, particularly down in Beaufort County, Hilton Head and the like. And many of those people coming in are either Democrats or independents. So, there was a Democrat in this seat 4 years ago. Our plan, we've just got to get the vote out, but we can win based on the way the lines are now, and that's what we're focused on doing.
I know you're saying that this is a purple district. Many pollsters I've talked to have said that the presidential election in 2024 is coming down to those independent voters. You think your race is coming down to those independent voters as well. So how do you convince those independents as well as Republicans, hey, I'm the best person for the job, not the Republican incumbent?
Well, first of all, let me just sort of say up front, we're also working really hard to maximize the turnout of Democrats. We've got to get folks who haven't voted in the past to actually pay attention, to get excited, and to come out to vote. But, look, my experience is with independents and moderate Republicans that they are typically business-oriented folks who may be a little bit more fiscally conservative and socially progressive. And ultimately, that's sort of what I am. I'm the business guy in the race here. I've had a 40-year business career, the last 25 or so in C-suite roles of increasing responsibility and impact. And so, at the end of the day, my background, the fact that I've run companies, that I've brought jobs to South Carolina, created jobs and the like, I think that's something that people really resonate with, those independent and moderate Republican-minded voters.
Congresswoman Nancy Mace reportedly describes herself as fiscally conservative and socially sensible. The economy and inflation continue to be top issues facing voters. Social issues like abortion continues to hold weight in voters' minds as well. So how are you tackling these types of issues?
Well, first of all, with all due respect, I mean, Nancy Mace is one of the more extreme members of Congress these days. Her own party has labeled her that. So, but look, we're just out. We are talking. I have a very positive, upbeat kind of an agenda. I'm focusing on core kitchen table issues. There are still a lot of people who are trying to get their legs underneath them post-COVID. A lot of people focusing on jobs and Social Security. Nancy Mace has talked about cutting Social Security, for example. Nancy Mace has talked. She was the co-sponsor of a 6-week abortion ban. Most of the women in my district, the overwhelming majority, very much care about women's reproductive freedom and rights. Nancy Mace hasn't really talked at all about the environment much. So the people who I'm talking to, and that includes Democrats, Independents, and even moderate Republicans, all care about these core issues that impact really all of us down here, and a lot of the extreme positions and extreme kinds of antics that Nancy Mace puts on really deliver the message that she's much more about Nancy Mace than she is about the district.
The economy, as we noted, is a top issue facing voters, and you have a business background. So I am curious. I mean, I've talked to voters from Iowa, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, all across the country, and people say, hey, my dollar felt like it went further years ago than it does now. So what do you say to those voters?
Yeah, I say they're right, and they feel that. I mean, look, there are some macroeconomic factors that are real. I mean, when President Biden got into office, the economy was in a shambles, almost in a free fall coming through, the pandemic. And now he's created record numbers of jobs. Unemployment is down, inflation is down. So all those are good things. But the broader system is really stressing working families. Wages are low and have been low and lagging productivity since Reagan. When you think about the cost of things like healthcare and housing and childcare, I mean, people are really struggling here. And so, part of what I'm focused on is working to try to figure out how do we create a more inclusive economy, an economy where more people can better take advantage of their skills, their hard work to take care of their families. And so that's really one of the core economic issues that I'm focused on.
You've received some good news recently. The largest federal employee union, the American Federation of Government Employees, endorsed you. So let's say you are elected to this seat. How will you help specifically these types of workers?
Well, first I think focusing, as I just said, on wages, I think is important. Again, just to underscore the point, if wages and productivity had tracked together since Reagan, we would have a living wage right now. We actually don't. We've suppressed wages, for the last 30 years. So I think it's important that we allow wages to rise so that people have living wages. California just passed a law where fast food workers are making, I don't know, I think $20 an hour. Like, we need to move to an economy where people can be fairly compensated and can have living wages. And so that's the kind of thing. Look, I have a whole nother proposal that looks at the kind of subsidies we give to the oil and gas industry. That's typically $20 billion a year in cash subsidies that goes up to sometimes almost $1 trillion a year in non-cash subsidies and credits and the like. I think we need to take that $20 billion and invest it in small and mid-sized businesses. Look, half of all companies and about half of all employees are in small and mid-sized businesses that don't get the kind of support from the government that these large companies do. And so let's take some of that, money that largesse that goes to large companies, and let's create pools of capital that entrepreneurs can access to grow their businesses, to start businesses, to hire new people, to innovate. Like, that's where growth and where really sort of the economic engine of America can take root. And so that's the kind of thing that I'm focused on.
I do now want to pivot to breaking news from last week. Former President Donald Trump was convicted on all 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. And I want to read you Nancy Mace's reaction in part and then get your response to that. She told this to News Nation over the weekend. She's hearing that people think Trump, quote, would have had a fairer trial if he mugged an old lady on the subway and looted Lululemon on the way home. She also called the result political. What do you think of her reaction?
It's not surprising. Look, either we're a nation of laws or we're not. Donald Trump was convicted by a jury of his peers in his city, in the city certainly where he committed these crimes. And Nancy Mace has been doing, if nothing else, she's been trying to pander to the former president, for the last couple of years. So this doesn't surprise me. Look, it's disappointing in a lot of ways that our country has to deal with this. But it's also deeply disappointing that a former president would have such disregard for the law to be able, he apparently felt like he could do, anything. And so, again, we're a nation of laws, and that this is where we are.
She also said that she believes the purple or the independent voters in your purple district are now moving to supporting Trump more after this verdict. She's saying she's hearing that from constituents. Are you hearing that too?
No, I mean, again, I think our purple district demonstrated the swing nature of the district when Nikki Haley beat Donald Trump in our district. I think Nancy Mace really made an enormous political miscalculation by trying to do her best to align with that extreme MAGA wing of her party and align with former President Trump when her district is much more purple, much more centrist. And so I think she's vulnerable on that. So, we'll see. We've got a primary coming up, and she's on the ballot as well. So, we'll see how this all plays out.
The primary is coming up. It is a week away. What's next for your campaign? What are you doing between now and the finish line?
Yeah, we are, maximizing every moment to get our message out to voters. A lot of voters were found mistakenly believed that when they voted in the presidential primary in February, that was the last time they needed to go to the polls until November. So we're, very much out talking to folks, reminding them, telling them that, hey, there's a very important election coming up, and urging them to get to the polls. We will have a number of events. Our days are full, and we're excited about the opportunity. We've got a big debate coming up on Thursday, and so looking forward to that, and just working hard and sprinting through the finish, to use a sports analogy.
Michael B. Moore, I appreciate the time. Best of luck to you next week, and I hope you come join me again.
Thanks so much. Look forward to it.